This guy is the most honest thief in the history of this world. His name, Kobna Jemfi, a 39-year-old man who was living in Akim Oda, somewhere in Ghana. Let's get into how this particular man went from stealing and smoking on the street to being sentenced to prison. So, Kobna Jemfi, this particular guy, did not have a very smooth childhood. Before he even grew up, his parents, both mother and father, had lost their life. So he grew up as an orphan. And as an orphan, he was handed over to his grandmother who raised him. His grandmother was selling herbs or medicine, the traditional medicine. So anytime the grandmother was roaming from community or village to village to sell this particular herbs and medicine, this particular guy, Kobna Jemfi, was supposed to help the grandmother sell. So he was constantly moving with the grandmother all around the communities and villages selling these herbs. For this reason, he wasn't put in school. However, when Kobna Jemfi got to around 10 or more years, he said he needed to be in school. He was interested in going to school. So he told the grandmother to enroll him in school. The grandmother enrolled him in one particular school. And guess what? Kobna Jemfi has never been in a school. However, when he was sent to the school, probably due to his age, the big age, he wasn't put in the lower primary. He was sent straight to class 6. Somebody who has never been to school, straight to class 6. Over there, he couldn't cope. And then later, the grandmother came back to the school, told him that they were going to one particular community to do something because they needed money to continue his education. Kobna Jemfi listened to the grandmother. The grandmother took Kobna Jemfi to another community and then pulled him out of school to continue helping her to sell all around the villages and communities. So, when Kobna Jemfi realized that the grandmother wasn't interested in putting him in school, he became very angry and disappointed in the grandmother. So at that point, he left where he was and then ran to another community which was mostly known for galamsey operations. Over there, Kobna Jemfi started engaging in galamsey. The first time he engaged in galamsey was a difficult thing for him because the people operating in the galamsey site saw him as a little boy who wouldn't be allowed on the galamsey site. However, Kobna Jemfi said a friend introduced him to smoking weed to make sure that he's high and then, so that he could work at the galamsey site. So, Kobna Jemfi actually took the weed and he was high and was able to go there and work. Due to how he was working, his energy and all that, the people at the galamsey site said, "Oh, we thought you were a small boy. Sana, you could do all this." So they invited him more often to the site, and that was how he started operating on the galamsey site. Kobna Jemfi eventually had a wife and then a child. Kobna Jemfi graduated from only smoking to drinking. So Kobna Jemfi was now smoking cigarettes, weed, and then drinking local alcohol. Now, in the process of doing this, he got entangled with some friends who were thieves who robbed for a living. According to Kobna Jemfi, one time he realized that the friends were having a lot of money to do a lot of things whilst he didn't have. When he made inquiries from them, they told him that they steal the money. He was interested because after all, they are all these friends who introduced him into the weed and alcohol and things. And in fact, as for the cigarettes, it wasn't the friends that introduced him to it. Kobna Jemfi has been smoking cigarettes ever since he was around 18 or 19 years old. He's been smoking from 1996 to 2021, as at the time he was imprisoned. So, his smoking started when he was living with the grandmother used to smoke. And anytime the grandmother wanted to smoke, the grandmother would call Kobna Jemfi, give him the cigarette stick and then ask him to go and light it. So anytime he went to light it, he also put it in their mouth and then take a poo. And anytime he does that, he coughs and the grandmother will be like, so it creepy, won't. Like something like, so you've pulled some of this cigar, right? So that was how he started smoking cigar and graduated into the other ones. So Kobna Jemfi was living his life with a wife and child until one particular night when Kobna Jemfi decided to do something very outrageous. Whilst Kobna Jemfi was lying down in the room with a wife around 10 to 11 p.m. at night, Kobna Jemfi all of a sudden got up from the room and then wanted to go out. The wife of Kobna Jemfi asked him where he was going. He simply told the wife that he wanted to take a stroll outside and then return. But inside the minds of Kobna Jemfi, he wanted to do what the friends were doing to make the money. So Kobna Jemfi came out and then went straight to one particular hotel which was nearby, a guest house. Kobna Jemfi entered into that, started searching the rooms, and then entered one particular kitchen. Opposite the kitchen was one particular room which was not locked, especially the window. When Kobna Jemfi peeped inside, he realized that a man and a woman were lying on the bed, and the man's trouser was lying close to the bed. So Kobna Jemfi went out, looked for a very long mop stick, and then brought it and then took the trouser and then pulled it outside. When he dipped his hand inside the pocket of this particular trouser, he found an amount of 5,000 Ghana cedis. He also stole a mobile phone in addition and left. So he did it successfully. He wasn't caught stealing. He went away with the 5,000 Ghana cedis and the mobile phone. When he arrived home, he called his friends and then told them what he had done the previous night. He also took them to the bar and then he bought food and drinks for them to eat and drink. He also gave each of the 3 friends 200 Ghana cedis to put in their pocket for a successful robbery. Now, this particular guy also went to look for a room to rent with the 5,000 Ghana cedis and all those. When wife of Kobna Jemfi found out about the money, he made inquiry and Kobna Jemfi didn't lie. He told the wife straightforward that he had stolen the money. The wife wasn't pleased with the fact that Kobna Jemfi is now into robbery or is now into theft and stealing. He warned him never to do that. And Kobna Jemfi also said this is the first time and this will be the last time. He's never going to do that because he needed the money, so he had to actually steal this particular money. The downfall of Kobna Jemfi arrived when one day a particular guy in the community approached Kobna Jemfi and then asked him for some amount of money. Kobna Jemfi was so surprised at this particular incident because who told you I have money? Who told you that I have money for you? However, not knowing that the 3 people that Kobna Jemfi had told about the theft, the robbery, and then had given them money and then bought food for them, no, those 3 people has also spread the news, told everybody about Kobna Jemfi's robbery incidents at the hotel. So everybody was now aware that Kobna Jemfi has an amount of 5,000 Ghana cedi that he stole from the hotel. So this particular guy asked Kobna Jemfi. Kobna Jemfi looked at him and was like, "You, this is your last." Kobna Jemfi, according to him, gave the guy 10 cedis and the guy left. Whilst he was there, he realized that one particular community police came there, pretended to be making a call with a girlfriend, not knowing that the guy was calling the police, CID, and other police officers. Immediately, they arrived and then, they handcuffed him and then put him inside a vehicle and started asking him about the money he had stolen. He was very surprised because nobody had seen him stealing the money. But he later realized that it is the friends that he had informed who went and then sold him out. When he was asked about the money and the theft, Kobna Jemfi vehemently denied his involvement in any robbery, in any theft, and he knows absolutely nothing about the money. However, he was placed under police custody, subsequently arraigned before court, and then the judge sentenced Kobna Jemfi to 18 months in prison. So Kobna Jemfi was taken to the Ankafo prison. Whilst he was there, a few months later, he was transferred to the Ewutu camp prison, where he was interviewed by Crime Check Foundation. Crime Check Foundation came there and they were able to pay a fine that was placed on him. And Kobna Jemfi was so grateful and then expressed his remorse in that particular theft and all those things. He had promised to be a changed person. So Kobna Jemfi in 2021 was taken out of prison.